All right, hello. I am Laurel Kelsey. Welcome to the Wednesday Wellness newsletter video. If you are coming across me for the very first time on YouTube, what I'm doing here is I send out a newsletter every Wednesday to my email subscribers. I'm a functional nutritionist and an exercise physiologist with a very specific focus of helping people who are dealing with chronic illness to make the jump from all the pain and the inflammation and really just not enjoying life to finally taking back control of their life and getting on top of the things that you do have control over to help decrease the symptoms and maybe even get rid of the symptoms you're having from whatever chronic illness that you're dealing with. And this could be mental or physical or maybe both. So if you haven't grabbed my free ebook on how to decrease your stress and improve your mental health, you can grab it down in the link below. If you're already on my email list, then I'm so glad you're here, and let's just jump right in. Just as a reminder, we're trying a new format, which is that I'm just giving you the give it to me straight little details in the newsletter. And if you're really interested in a lot of information, then you're coming here and watching the video. If you happen to be driving, please don't watch it, just listen to the audio. I'm so glad you're here. So the last couple of weeks we have been talking about detoxing the body. And this subject has come from one of my email subscribers wanting to know, Laurel, how do I detox my body? And it's actually a lot more complicated than just taking a 3-day detox protocol, for example. It also is a lot simpler than you would think. It comes back down to the very basics. And I thought it would be a perfect discussion today to continue with the detox discussion, with Halloween being yesterday. So I'm sitting in this room with all of this candy that my 13-year-old collected last night. He brought in a huge haul of candy, and now I want to applaud him for his entrepreneurship, because they went and collected candy, but they also would ask the people, if we come back at a certain time, whatever you have left, would you just give us the whole whatever is left over? And of course people don't want all their candy afterwards. I really have this love-hate relationship with Halloween, but I would much rather my teenagers be out doing fun and collecting candy and working on their skills of communicating with people than doing something else like drinking or being a part of drugs. So it's this catch-22 for me. However, candy, we collect a lot. We collected a lot of candy, but it cannot stay in my house. So I wanted to start with an idea of what do you do with all of the sugar that's come in from all of the Halloween haul. One thing you can do is there's always a dentist that will buy back, but also you could look for opportunities to give away your candy to good causes. You could, I know there's companies, organizations, nonprofit organizations that send candy overseas to military. You could do something like what we do. I looked up, we do this every single year in the hospitals. They have lots of volunteer opportunities, and we take our candy and we turn them into, I should have grabbed one, saved one, or made one up, but we put them in napkins, like a handful of the candy into the napkins, and we turn them into little turkeys with eyeballs and a beak and everything. And then we bring all of this candy to the hospitals that they pass out over to people who are waiting to have just a little bit of happiness in their moment when things are kind of they're worried about their loved ones, for example. It brings a little smile to their face. And in small tiny amounts, that's something that could be okay, but this amount is unacceptable. acceptable. So that's what we do. So I encourage you that if you did go trick-or-treating or you have tons of candy left over, that you figure out how to move it out of your house. So let's get down to business. I'm talking about, why am I talking about all of this Halloween candy? The body needs glucose. If we're talking about detoxing, we need to talk about how do we help support the body so that it has the nutrients and the tools that it needs to do all of the jobs that it needs to do. And one of the things that the body really needs is glucose. Glucose is here, I'm trying to stay a little bit close to what's in the newsletter so that anyone who's reading the newsletter doesn't get confused. The body needs glucose for energy. It is the primary source for your brain. So where does glucose come from? You eat your food, especially say it's a chicken sandwich. The bread on your chicken sandwich is going to have the majority of the carbohydrates. That's what breaks down into, after you get through the stomach and the stomach acid and the digestive enzymes and you're chewing, you get the smallest release of the molecule called glucose. And glucose is the main source that your brain needs for fuel. So it is a good thing. We don't want to run away from not having sources of glucose in our life. And so this could look like, it can come from our fruits and our vegetables and our pasta and our breads and our dairy and our beans, and of course refined sugar here. And so this is where the big problem is. We want to aim to get our sources of food that are going to break down into glucose, that are coming along with a lot of nutrients and fiber. We want to aim to get our sugars from there. It doesn't steal from the body so much to help break down, because when we have too much sugar in the body, it then attaches itself onto other nutrients in the body, and we can become nutrient deficient because of too much sugar. The liver gets overwhelmed when the liver has when we have a lot of glucose in our bloodstream. The first place that the body stores it is in a form called glycogen in the liver. And when the liver gets full, then it will start taking that excess sugar and turn it into fatty acids, which then get deposited all over our body in fat stores. So we want to reduce the amount of added sugars in our life and just focus on the whole foods that have nutrients with it and fiber to help the digestive system stay clean as much as possible. So let's talk about how do we get rid of or decrease significantly the added sugars in our life. Right, so added sugars can come in many forms. It might be in your candies, it could be in your condiments, it could be in your drinks, think dressings, anything that's processed. If it has a label on it, it's highly likely that it might have some form of added sugar, processed sugar in it, not in its natural state coming from fruits and that type of thing, okay? Or dairy has a lot of natural sugars in it also. Let me make sure that I'm talking, oh yes, I did forget about that. So sugar is addictive because it helps your brain to feel good really fast. It's getting a lot of energy, a lot of hormonal hit from feeling all of that spike of the blood sugar really quickly and getting that fuel. But then the problem comes when we crash and the body wants more. And this becomes a problem for not just being addicted to the sugar, but when we have sugar coming into our life all the time, unfortunately what can happen is it can really start to impact the ability of the immune cells to do their job. And when the immune cells are busy taking care of all this extra inflammation coming from the sugar, then they can't do their real job of protecting us from viruses and bacteria, things that the body really should be working on. This is an interesting fact that you might like to know, that your immune system could be impacted up to 5 hours after eating sugar. So you really want to consider carefully, is it worth eating this added extra sugar? So let's talk about the guidelines that come from the American Heart Association for how much added sugar you should allow to have in your life. Just to help you kind of get a feeling for how much I'm talking about, 4 grams of sugar would be 1 teaspoon. Okay, so a teaspoon is 4 grams of sugar. Or yeah, 1 teaspoon of sugar, that would equal 4 grams. So the recommendation from the American Heart Association, 0 to 2 years old, no added sugars at all, 0. So none of this at all for your little ones at all. It's not, absolutely, they shouldn't have to process that in their body. They're still doing so much growing at that little tiny age, and we don't want to overburden their body in any way. Someone who is 2 to 8 years old is looking at 0 grams of added sugar up to 24 grams of added sugar per day. So or under 0 to under 24 grams a day. So if 4 grams of sugar is 1 teaspoon of sugar, that would only be 6 teaspoons to get to that just under 6 teaspoons, and that actually adds up really, really quickly. So you definitely want to become good at looking at labels. For women 18 and older, you're looking at, again, 0 to 24 grams of added sugar in your day. And men, depending on their size, how tall, how big they are, it could possibly go up to 36 grams per day. But I'm gonna just suggest, as educating you on that added sugars, this refined sugar in your life is really not helpful for you. Think of it more on the poison side of what it is doing to your body, and try to stay as close to 0 grams of added sugar in your life as possible. Don't get stressed about it. Don't want you to feel like you have to just be crazy about it. Instead, start focusing on moving your life away from processed food towards whole foods, fruits, vegetables, proteins. Think nuts, seeds, lots of herbs. That will be a much healthier way to bring in sugars into your life that your body needs, and it recognizes it better. Okay, I thought you might find this interesting. So I was looking here. So when we're talking about Halloween candy, these are just, and can you see them? They're just itty bitty little Snickers bars. These are the mini ones. 3 of these mini Snickers bars, if you go on the back of these bags and look on the labels for added sugar, so 3 little mini Snickers bars have 13 grams of sugar. So we're already way too much for someone under 2, right? Because they should have 0. And for kids, we are, just with these 3, we are getting more than halfway to their under 24 grams per day. And for women, same thing, right? If you add in, let's see, so these little tiny mini M&Ms. So 3 bags of the M&Ms. Let's see, I'm checking here, added sugar. So 3 bags of these M&Ms, 16 grams of sugar in these itty bitty bags. So what if last night while you were passing out candy, you had 3 bags of M&Ms and 3 little tiny Snickers? You have then just hit 16 and 13. So we're at 29 grams of sugar. And we haven't even, this is not talking about our food at all, anything we've had for breakfast or lunch or dinner or snacks. Just right here, we're already over the recommendation of that 24 grams or less. It adds up so fast. So we want to be really careful, and we definitely want to be learning to read the labels and looking for the added sugar line and coming and seeing how much it is, and make sure you know what the serving size is. So the serving size on this bag is saying 3 of these mini Snickers is that 13 grams of added sugar. Whew. Can you just like think about all of this candy that I have here? We're looking at thousands and thousands of grams of sugar. So crazy to think about. So let's wrap this up. Remember, when we're talking about detox, I don't want you to get stuck in that you just do a 3-day detox every once in a while. Rather, your lifestyle is transforming one thing at a time to be able to daily be really supportive of the detox processes of your body. All right? Please remember that sugar is hiding everywhere. Most processed food companies and restaurants, they don't have your best interest at heart, your health interest at heart. There are some companies that are really good, and I do really appreciate those out there, and some restaurants that are trying. But when you put into someone else's hands the privilege of making food for you, and you are not very careful about what you allow to eat in your body, when you're not being the one who's making the food, you just have to be hyper vigilant in being aware. I don't know if you remember way back, I think that was my very first YouTube post that I made. I bought a smoothie from somewhere that appears to be a healthy smoothie when you look at the ingredient, or when you look at the menu. But then when you go back and you watch them make it, or you look at the ingredients list, they put 100 grams of added sugar into that smoothie. It's definitely not a healthy smoothie in any way, because it also had fruits and vegetables. So it had good things in it, but it had so much unhelpful things. So companies are not there to take care of you. You have to put that in your own hands to be careful of what you're eating, and sugar is hiding everywhere. Again, remember thinking about what you're drinking, the condiments you're putting on. Some jams have tons of sugar in it. Ketchup can have tons of sugar in it. Your dressings can have tons of sugar in it. Anything that's sitting in the freezer section or in the bakery, read the labels. Be aware of how much sugar is in there, because this is one of the very best things that you can do to have a cleaner, healthier body that feels better, less inflamed, not as in much pain, less brain fog, healthier gut. The stomach is feeling a lot better. The microbiome is healthier. Your mental health can be much better when you have less added sugar in your life. Let's see. And just please remember that it'd be so easy to go above and beyond the recommendations for added sugar in your life in just a few minutes of your day. So don't get caught in that trap. And I mean, all this candy is here. It's hard when it's here to not like, oh, that looks good, especially, this week I didn't meal plan. And I am paying the price in such a way, and mostly it's a mental price, because it's so much energy for me to think about what am I going to eat, what am I going to eat, what am I going to make for my family all week. And then the candy is sitting around too, and it's so easy to grab a piece of candy instead of make something, because I don't know what I want to make. I get it, we're human, that happens, and so this is why we have to not be reactive to life, but we have to plan life. It's so much easier to sit down for a few minutes and plan, even if it's only 24 hours in advance, what you're going to eat, so that you don't get caught in being hungry and just wanting food, whatever you can find, because what you're probably going to grab is things that are processed, full of added sugar. Let's not go there. You're smarter than that now. I'm not your doctor. I'm not even, probably, unless you're one of my clients, I'm not your nutritionist yet, right? But please take this educational information and start to look at what you are allowing into your body, knowing that lots of immune system deficiencies and inflammation can come from too much sugar in your life. Please prioritize whole foods in your life and minimize the processed foods and the desserts, or learn to make desserts in healthier ways so that you can enjoy them a little bit more without getting such a heavy hit of added sugars. If it has a label, you need to be checking for it. You will be surprised at how much you find everywhere. I hope this was helpful. It helps you to understand a little bit more about the idea of sugars. And remember the guidelines. Try to stay under 24 grams for women, under 36 grams for men. And children should be 0 to 2, should be none, absolutely 0 in their life. 2 to 8 years old, I would still encourage as close to 0 a day, but keep it underneath the 24 grams. Okay, please reach out if you need help. I'm here to help you get through the chronic illness pain that you're in so you can get your life back. I know that I've been there in such a horrible way. I know how it feels to just be so much in pain and so tired all the time and not being able to get up and do the things that you want to do. And I'm here to help support you. Go grab my free ebook if you haven't done it. And if you would like help, even if it's not from me, please go get help so that you can move forward in feeling better. If you would like me to help you, I have free health consults. You just need to pop on. We'll talk for just a couple of minutes about what's going on, what your goals are. Make sure that I have a program that can fit with you. And if I do, we'll talk about the program and get you started right away. Tomorrow can be better than today. You can feel better. You can get your inflammation under control. You can get your digestive health back. You can get your mental health back. It does take steps and it does take some patience, but together we can work on helping you move forward faster. All right, I will see you next week. Thanks for being here. I'll talk to you soon.